Hey, welcome to another episode of the Empowered Coach podcast. I'm your host, Richard Dale. Today, my guest is Gemma from Nutrition Gems. Excited to find out a bit about you and your journey. So, I'd love to start with, kind of who you are, what your business is, and what do you do?
Okay, so I started in the health and fitness industry about 13 years ago. And it was a bit of a surprise for me that that even ever happened because I was not the kind of child that you would expect to end up being a personal trainer or working in that kind of industry. So I hated um, games and PE at school. Sports day was the worst day of the year. I used to cry and beg my mum not to send me. But then in my sort of late teens, early 20s, I sort of started to exercise because I was putting on a little bit of weight, going to the pub too much, eating the wrong foods, that sort of thing, and thought, right, I want to nip this in the bud now. So started going to the gym, didn't really know what I was doing, and eventually found some group exercise classes. So particularly loved body pump, really found that that sort of changed my physique, and also found a social element sort of within that as well, and met some really good friends. We used to sort of go on a Saturday morning and then we do body balance afterwards and then have a coffee together. So I sort of found my place with it really. And then I got diagnosed with ulcerative colitis when I was 23. So that kind of made me stop and take stock of how my life was going. I had thought I was going to be a primary school teacher, but hated the training. So gave that up after 8 weeks and ended up in a supermarket management job, which didn't really enjoy, but it was bringing in good money. And then got the diagnosis, was really very poorly. And when I went back to work, I just really struggled. So I thought there's got to be more to life than this. And the lady who took my body pump classes was also working in a college delivering personal training courses. So I decided to go and start one. So at 23, along with a group of, I think there was about 10 or 12 young lads, I was there training to be a personal trainer, got my qualification, started working in a ladies only gym. And since then I've been self-employed and I've done different things. I've sort of done a bit of yoga training and mostly sort of working with women, weight loss. And I've just evolved over those years, really. So my stance on things has kind of changed and I've developed and grown. I have recently been doing a nutrition masters, which I'm still finishing off. And yeah, everything is kind of now based on sort of longevity, sustainability, and focusing on sort of health, well-being, nutrition, self-development. I love it. I'm obsessed with it all.
Wow, that's awesome. So many questions already, so much to unpack. First of all, body pump is a killer. Body pump is like if you're a guy and you think, oh yeah, I can do a few weights, like just humbles you completely because it's just like the opposite of just like high intensity,
Yeah,
lots of squats. So many guys go in there, rack the weights up, and then just after like a few reps, like, oh my God, what have I done here?
seen that happen.
Yeah, yeah, it's so funny. But I'd love to, yeah, so like kind of almost some parallels in our journey as well, like having a corporate management background. But I'm curious to know with your diagnosis, and I guess that sent you on a bit of a healing journey.
Mm.
Is that something you've come to conclude was either brought on by the stress of the job or the stress of the food that you're eating, or a combination of?
Yeah, I think a bit of both, really. So definitely the stress of the job. I was working really long hours, sort of 70-hour weeks. I was
Mm.
working back to back shifts. So I was sort of getting home at 10, 11 o'clock at night, struggling to wind down. My sleep was terrible. And then I'd be up again and having to leave the house at 4 or 5 to get into work for 6 to work the next shift. And yeah, it was awful. And with that went like a terrible diet. I was just eating. I was just going onto the shop floor at break times because we didn't have very long. We didn't have time for a proper meal. So I was just going onto the shop floor and buying whatever was quick and easy and whatever I fancied at the time. It was, looking back, it was all ultra processed food, but I didn't think about that at the time. And now, I've just learnt so much. I ran a cleaning business for 6 years, and during that time I constantly had my headphones in and I was listening to podcasts, and that really kind of moved me more towards the nutrition and health side of things. I still love fitness, but it's really kind of got me into the science. And yeah, it did put me on a healing journey, and it's one that took it took 12 years for me to work out what I should be eating. And I had a colonoscopy last year, which was completely clear. So yeah, it was a lot of suffering and until I discovered that.
I think we all go on these journeys of like education, of like understanding what to eat, and then we're really on it. And then sometimes there's times when we're not on it. And I've certainly seen for myself cycles where I'm like really conscious about what I eat. And then other cycles of like, again, just grabbing what's quick and easy. I think it's
Mm,
so hard, especially with the supermarkets. Like like there isn't many options that you can just grab that
no.
are healthy. I'm curious, like with the clients that you work with, how do you try and help them on their journey of eating well, but having a busy lifestyle at the same time?
So I think it's about discipline. I think it's also about wanting to feel good. So for me, it's not really possible to deviate from eating healthily, eating what I know suits me, because I don't want to go back to feeling that rubbish. I don't want to go back to lack of energy. I was struggling to work sort of
Mm.
5, 6 hour days, whereas now I've just got unlimited amounts of energy and I sleep so well. I try and tap in with my clients. I try and tap into what it is that's going to really make that difference to them. And I think there are always options for sort of quick and easy, and it very much depends on lifestyle. So I think about, have you got a slow cooker? Would that work for you? Are you coming in at 6 o'clock? Are you having to rush out again for kids with clubs and things like that? Would it be a good idea to put a slow cooker on in the morning and have that ready for you when you come in? Is it a good idea to batch cook? I don't do that because that doesn't really work for me. It's not something I've ever really been drawn to, but for some people, batch cooking works really well. Meal planning, sitting down on a Sunday and thinking, right, what will I eat this week? Write the list, go and get all the stuff and know that you've got it in. And just having like quick ideas like boiled eggs, tins of mackerel and sardines in spring water or olive oil. I've been known on the way back from uni to open one of those and eat it on the train. And it's great because no one wants to sit next to you. Like there are
No one
so
wants to sit in the
many.
carriage, let alone next to you.
I know, but there are, thinking sort of outside the box. There are different things that you can have that maybe you wouldn't think of, and there are ways around it where you don't have to rely on those sort of convenience foods, and you can take lunch boxes out with you. I try and sort of make it a bit cool to take a lunchbox out with you rather than just going and thinking, right, because I don't eat normal bread. I did have normal bread a couple of weeks ago, and it really reminded me why I don't eat normal bread. I can eat real sourdough, but normal bread just doesn't do me very well. So when you go out, you find that everything is made of bread, or if you go out for lunch, it's carbohydrates and it's bread. So for me to take something with me is a much better option. So it's letting people know it's okay to take a lunchbox out with you, and these are the things that you can put in it.
Controversial one that I want to know about. Your opinion on, your stance on the weight loss injections, Wegovy. What's your stance on those?
I love a bit of controversy. I would say, in probably 99.9% of cases, I think it would have to be a very, very serious case of obesity with, a lot of factors working against that person being able to use other methods, for me to think that it was a good idea for somebody to take those things. I would worry about the side effects, but I also believe strongly that there's a huge mindset element to weight loss. And I just think those injections are not changing that. And I think also there's a problem with this sort of quick fix mentality that people think, I can have that and it's going to work. What's going to happen when you stop as well? There's so many issues with them. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It is effectively like putting a plaster over your mouth for 3 months, stop yourself eating, and then what's going to happen after that? I
Mm,
totally agree. It's like the long term and the effect of taking the drug as well. Like you said, there's so
yeah.
many like potential side effects that we don't understand. But
Yeah.
there's so much pressure and like social media and like it was one of the Williams sisters was promoting it quite heavily. It's like you can understand why people will just be like, that person's having it, everyone else is taking it. Why don't I get it?
It surprises me how many people have
Yeah,
actually are actually doing it. When they first sort of got announced, I thought, well, I don't think people will be receptive to it, but way more people have. given it a go or taken it than I ever expected. I'm really, really surprised.
Yeah, yeah, me too. And just like buying it from random places as well.
Yeah.
It's like just getting it off the internet and injecting yourself with it is so
Yeah.
weird. But I think as health and fitness professionals, it's sometimes it's hard to understand why someone would do that because you kind of you know more, like you know the science behind it a little bit more.
I yeah,
Whereas someone that doesn't is just thinking,
Yeah. I'm all about the sort of long game as well. So thinking about, when we're older and trying to be as
yeah,
healthy as possible for the long term. So sustainable things, sustainable changes. But yeah, it does surprise me how many people are taking them. And it's worrying actually.
yeah, yeah, it's certainly a challenge for the coaching industry. What's kind of next for your business? I saw your post on the weekend about like things coming up and partnerships and stuff. So I would like to know like where you're planning to take your business and what ventures you're working on.
Yeah, I'm probably the kind of person that I will never be doing just one thing sort of full time. Obviously, I've been self-employed now for 13 years, I think it is. And I don't think I would struggle to go back to employment, in one place. And actually, yeah, November is sort of shaping up to be a really kind of exciting month. I'm here, there, and everywhere. I'm doing lots of things, and that's when I thrive. So with Nutrition Gems, I'm offering coaching for people that really want to they're really serious about making changes to their health, fitness, and their lives. So I'm a qualified life coach as well. So there's always a background of mindset, self-development, and those kind of things. So I look at things like morning routines and goal setting and the wheel of life and all of those things. It's not just about the food that you put in your mouth. It's a lot about the psychology too. So yeah, continuing to offer coaching on a one-to-one basis. And I'm also running transformation programs, 12-week transformation programs with my business Body Recode, which I run with my girlfriend.
Nice. And was there a corporate element I saw somewhere as well, or did I make that up?
I've got lots of
Maybe I made that up.
No, not lots of networking events, but I'm also working as a performance planner for a local business as well. So yeah, a bit of corporate stuff as well. So that's a business that
Nice.
offers sort of business plans, but also personal plans, fitness plans, nutrition plans, and things like that. So I'm sort of getting involved with lots of projects there as well. So I'm very multi-passionate and love to get involved in lots of different things. And yeah, just, I love going to self-development events and networking and just seeing where I can poke my nose in, really.
I think networking is probably the best way like to go about, especially if you're starting out,
Mm,
building confidence and just exploring other avenues that you might not have thought at. I think sometimes people, because it is scary, I think sometimes people kind of like try and figure it all out on the computer and like just try and do it online. But I think there's so much power in just
mhm.
having a network of other people to tap into.
I've been networking since I went self-employed. So I set up my first business in 2014. It was a little fitness studio in North Devon where I used to live. And it didn't work out because I'd gone from a gym job thinking that I knew better, and that I could do things better than the gym I worked at. And actually, I had no business education, no business knowledge. And I wasn't really out there sort of looking to learn at that point, young, and I was a bit naive. But I have networked consistently since then. And even when I didn't have a business, I would still go along to those networking events for the self development, the support, and the friendship. Yeah, so I've always sort of consistently valued networking, and the sort of freelance role that I've got as a performance planner recently, that came from a networking event. And I just think, especially getting out there in person, I mean, I do online networking, but I think getting out there in person and getting the sort of know, like, and trust factor is the best way to bring in clients, really. I mean, people can see Instagram posts and things like that, but they won't buy in unless they know you.
Yeah, yeah, I completely agree with both the networking and the selling yourself online. And it is that know, like, and trust. With the networking, it's like the power in network is those little conversations that you have, during the meeting or after the meeting that you struggle to sometimes in a group networking event online.
Yeah.
But with the online coaching, particularly with Instagram, because everything is short form content, it's like 10 seconds, 20 seconds. It's not going to get someone thinking, right, I need to reach out to them. There's a period of time where they have to consume more content from you and get closer to you and build that trust before they're ready, going to be ready to work with you.
Yeah.
I definitely think there's a big gap that we have in our industry between like when you get qualified and how you sell yourself, like how you market yourself. And I see a lot of people make that transition like you did, where they come off the gym floor and then they go out and they're like, why is no one coming to me? It's like, I've got this amazing life-changing product, but why are people not, why don't people reach out to me?
Yeah.
What have you kind of leaned on in terms of your strategies over the years? What kind of works for you in terms of getting clients?
Well, I've probably tried everything because obviously I've been a qualified PT now for sort of 13 years. Well, I've been self-employed in that sort of space in the health and fitness industry for all of that time. And I did come out of it because I was fed up of feeling like I was pushing people to want the healthy lifestyle more than they did. I couldn't want it for them. And at that point it was sort of 2019, I think it was, and I had a little one. He was 2 at the time. And so I came out of it. That was my strategy at that point, was to actually go make some money running a cleaning business, which, like I say, it was one of the best things I ever did, because yes, I did make money, quite a lot of money by doing that. It was really successful, but also was just able to load up the knowledge, with the podcasts. I was just constantly hooked up to podcasts, and, I wouldn't be the person that I am today. I wouldn't be the coach. I wouldn't be the human being that I am today without all of that knowledge. So I think consistency, I think tenacity, I think having a mission that you're working on as well, which is something that I'm developing more recently. I think years ago, I used to just think about making a quick buck, and it would be, right, what class can I put out there now that will drag people in, that will make me, £60 in an hour? I was so excited once because I just qualified as a boxercise instructor, and the town that I lived in was just, they were just so excited about boxercise, and they came along, and I made loads of money for that first session. Second session, made loads of money, and then it just gradually tapered off, and they stopped coming because they had excuses and they had other commitments, and they just lost interest. And so that wasn't a long-term strategy. Whereas now I tend to look at more, I look at the long term and I think, right, okay, what is this greater mission of mine? What am I trying to do? And I need to stick at it and keep improving myself, to encourage others to want to improve them.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you definitely need like a roadmap. People need to kind of know what result they're going to get in a particular time to stay motivated. I think it's really interesting what you said, like with the cleaning business and just selling a service. I find it super interesting how you could do some posts or run some ads for your cleaning business, but doing it for your own kind of fitness business sometimes feels harder because it feels like personal.
You've
If
hit the nail
people
on the
don't
head
respond
there.
to it, it's like a personal rejection. Do you feel?
Yeah, you've hit the nail on
Yeah.
the head. I always
Do you
used to.
feel that?
I grew my cleaning
Yeah.
business to 6 figures within just over a year, and it was the easiest thing. I could do it again. I've obviously moved from Devon to Cornwall. I could set up a cleaning business down here. I would be confident that I could have it to 6 figures probably in 12 months. And I always used to wonder, why can I not do that for my health and fitness business? But I always knew, even at the very beginning of the cleaning business, because it wasn't a plan. I never planned to set up a business. It was just a few hours of cleaning on the side, and it grew to be a business, which I wasn't expecting. But I always knew that I never wanted to stay in cleaning. I always knew I would end up back in health and fitness. And I just think that's something that it will always draw me back. And now I feel very intentional on staying within the industry. Obviously I've committed and I've done my master's in nutrition, and that was kind of me saying, right, I'm ready to be serious about this now and not get distracted by other things.
Nice. Yeah. And, success in fitness, as it is in most industries, is mindset, right? It's like when you get knocked down, it's like coming back stronger. That didn't work. Okay, let me figure out something else and try something else.
Yeah.
So many coaches quit, within the first 12 months because they
Yeah.
feel like they tried something, it didn't work, and that rejection kind of hurts. And then they they leave the industry, and it's really, really sad in our
Yeah.
industry because it is such an amazing job to be able to literally change someone's life.
And it's always something that people go
How do
into
you
with passion, isn't it? It's not something that you end up falling into for the
yeah,
money or because it's sensible. It's 100% driven by passion and, people's own personal stories. And that's why I love it.
yeah. What's been your journey with social media? Do you like social media, and how do you find marketing your business on there?
So I've been very consistent this year. So consistency was my word of 2025, and the intention was to post on social media every day, give or take. I've probably not every day, but I have done really well with consistency. I've sort of done more reels. I've learnt more, but I'm still not at the level where I'm getting too much traction. I don't think I don't think my content's awful, but I definitely think it could be better. I do enjoy social media. I actually find Instagram has a lot of interesting stuff. I learn a lot from it, but I have a sort of love-hate relationship, as I think a lot of people do, with the fact that it is so addictive and it's so
Mm,
easy just to pick your phone up and to scroll. But like I say, I do think that there's a lot of valuable content. I get a lot of food ideas from Instagram and I learn a lot, which then sparks me to go and look up things. I'll see something on Instagram and I will go and Google it. I will go and find a podcast on it, or I will go and find a book on it or something. So in that respect, it's teaching me a lot, but I do find it tricky with regard to sort of the algorithms and knowing what to post, knowing what's best to do for best results, definitely.
I think there's so much information out there. Sometimes there's a bit of like analysis paralysis, isn't there? It's like everyone's saying different things. And it's the same with the fitness business as well, isn't it? There's so many different voices saying this
Right.
diet. So many people saying, should be doing this tactic, should be doing this tactic. I mean, what I've personally found is if you do one of these strategies for long enough, it will probably work.
Mm,
It's when you bounce between them, they often don't. And it's also finding something that you resonate with. For me, I found a lot of resistance with certain strategies where it's just like, done it for a bit. I was like, oh, I don't want to be doing this forever. So you kind of have to land on something that you feel actually, I feel quite comfortable with it.
mm,
Which for me is why I kind of lent into learning how to run ads because I was never that big on creating content. Was never really like a huge content creator.
mm.
But everyone's different and you've got to kind of play to your strengths. What in 12 months time, let's manifest this. Where would you love the business to go? Like what direction would you like it to go? And like what are you pushing? And so in 12 months time it's kind of what's your vision look like?
I'd like to have sort of time and location freedom. So I'd like to be in a position where I didn't have to go anywhere specific for work. I'd like to be able to work from anywhere and to be able to work as and when I want to, really. I'd like to be busy enough that my business is the only thing that I need to focus on. So Nutrition Gems and Body Recode, I'd like to be running those full time, not having to think about any other form of employment or bringing in income from anywhere else.
Nice. Well, you've got such a powerful journey and such a wealth of experience. No, there's so many people out there that would appreciate that value that you can give them. And if you keep at it, keep doing what you're doing, I see your potential and I'm sure you can do amazing. So I'm really wishing you the best for the future.
Thank you, Richard.
Okay, we're wrapping up at 28 minutes. Thanks for coming to the show, Gemma. Where can we find you if someone wants to reach out to you? What's the best place to contact you?
So I'm on Instagram at Nutrition Gems, and we've also got an Instagram for Body Recode, which is at body.recode.
Amazing. I'll link that below in the show notes as well. So if anyone watching wants to reach out and have a conversation, they can click the link. And thanks again for coming.
Thank you.